What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the Olight World YouTube channel, and in this one we are going to talk about the two IR capable lights that we offer. Now what that means is that you can actually see either a illuminator or a dot while using night vision, and no one else can actually see it. So we're going to go over the capabilities and the differences between the Valkyrie IR and the Baldr IR.
But before we dive into all of the details, we are going to give away a Valkyrie IR in this video. So to enter, all you guys need to do is subscribe to this channel, like this video, and in the comments below, let us know what your dream night vision setup is.
Now for starters, the biggest difference between the Valkyrie IR and the Baldr IR is the actual form factor and size. Now the Valkyrie IR actually takes design cues from the Baldr Mini and even the PL Mini 2, meaning that it's going to have those downward type switches and also that adjustable rail system to fit compacts and even subcompacts. Now we're looking at the Baldr IR. It has that much larger size, and it does have the laser underneath the light itself. It also has the switches where you can hit them from the side instead of down, and it does have that similar form factor to the PL Pro, the Baldr Pro, and lights like that. Now once you've decided what size and form factor that you like the most between these two, really the biggest difference is what actually happens with the IR. So this one has an IR illuminator and this one has an IR dot. So it's actually going to look completely different through your night vision. This is going to look more like a flashlight because it has that additional illuminator with its own reflector versus the laser that is on the Baldr IR that you can actually zero to your firearm while you're wearing night vision.
Now another big difference between the two is that the Valkyrie IR is rechargeable. You can use the standard MCC Special Edition to charge this light just like the Baldr Mini or the PL Mini 2. Now the Baldr IR actually runs off of two CR123A batteries that you can change out at any time.
Now with those main differences talked about, let's go ahead to the tabletop and go over everything and really do a deep dive on the differences and the features between the Valkyrie IR and the Baldr IR. Now that we have the Valkyrie IR here on the left and the Baldr IR on the right, I'm going to go over just a few differences and some similarities between the two. Now obviously one of the biggest differences is the size, and that's the reason why I have them on the table here together, because the Baldr IR is easily double the size of the Valkyrie IR. But if you have it on something that's full size, maybe you even want to put this on a rifle, something like that, the Baldr IR might be the way to go. If you would prefer to have a dot instead of a standard illuminator like the Valkyrie IR, or maybe you just want those extended run times, the removable batteries. Also, this has 1,350 lumens compared to the 400 lumens here. So obviously there are some benefits to having the Baldr IR compared to the Valkyrie, as long as you're willing to have something that is that much larger. Now again, like I mentioned, on the standard white light, the Baldr IR has 1,350 lumens compared to the 400 lumens on the Valkyrie IR. Now that is a significant difference in the white light output. So if you need something extremely bright, the Baldr IR might be for you, but if 400 is good enough, which typically indoors, inside of a house, something like that, 400 lumens is plenty, but it's really up to you. It's now currently pitch black outside. It's almost about about 10 p.m. So we figured this was a good time to show you not only the white light performance of the Valkyrie IR and the Baldr IR, but also go ahead and put up a night vision monocular to the camera so that we can show you the IR capabilities of each of these. So now we'll go ahead and shine the white light of the Valkyrie IR, and this is that 400 lumen setting that we were talking about earlier. So there you go, there's a little tree in front of us. You got a nice little hot spot there. This is plenty bright enough for you know, in-home, if you're clearing out rooms, anything like that. I think the 400 lumens is going to be perfectly bright enough for you. And again, this white light is here for when you don't have access to your night vision. Maybe you do just want to use it as a standard flashlight in a given situation. So it's nice that it's not only an IR illuminator, but then you have this really nice, just full 400 lumen beam on such a small WML. So here we have the Baldr IR white light setting. You can see how, first of all, it's a much more neutral looking white. So if you prefer that more neutral look, then the Baldr IR is going to be good for you. It definitely has a much warmer tone. I wouldn't consider it a full neutral white, but it is a much warmer tone than the Valkyrie IR. It definitely has a much more pronounced hot spot as well due to it having a much higher candela, but you're still getting some flood there and some spill on the outer edges. So again, just a wonderful beam. I think it's similar to the beam on the regular Baldr Pro, and this is just a great white light beam on the Baldr IR as well. So the candela is 6,000 on the Valkyrie IR. The candela is 14,400 on the Baldr IR. Obviously, you're going to have a much higher beam intensity at distance with something that has almost 1,000 more lumens. And speaking of that beam distance, you're getting 150 meters with the Valkyrie IR, and you are getting 260 meters, so over 100 more meters with that Baldr IR. Now, in terms of weight, now this is a disadvantage of the Baldr IR because this is 4.55 ounces when it has the two CR123A batteries in it. Whereas the Valkyrie IR, it has a built-in battery pack because this is rechargeable. Now, the weight on that is 2.79 ounces. So you're looking at almost 2 more ounces with the Baldr IR. So that's something to keep in mind, especially for something that you're going to carry. Now, if we talk about the length, the Valkyrie IR is 2.07 inches and the Baldr IR is 3.31 inches. So again, a very significant difference in the length. And now that we're talking about length, I think it makes sense to show that to you here with a standard, pretty common pistol. So this one is a Glock 45. The barrel length is exactly the same as a Glock 19. So if you have one of those or you have anything with a 4-inch length barrel, then this is what it's going to look like. Now let's go ahead and put the Valkyrie IR on this one. I'll just go ahead and flip it around. So we'll just pop it on here, push that back to the trigger guard, lock it down, and that's what it's going to look like on a 4-inch barrel. Now you can see here that the actual front of the light itself is actually pushed back from the front of that barrel, but you still have the rail adapter section here that is a little bit further up. But as you can see, this would be much easier to carry in appendix or something like that, where it might be pushing up against your leg when you sit down. Now, if we go ahead and look at the Baldr IR on the exact same gun, let me just pop this one on here, and there it is there, and it is significantly longer, significantly larger. You have the entire head of the light right here sticking out from the front of the barrel right here, compared to the Valkyrie IR here not even fully reaching the front of the barrel. So there's a very significant size difference between these two. There it is right there. But if this is for home defense, maybe you're putting on something that even is full size, even larger than a 4-inch barrel, then it might not really matter because you're not carrying it and taking it anywhere anyways. Now here's a point that I do want to drive home, and that is the fact that the Baldr IR will not even fit on a subcompact. In order to use the Baldr IR, it needs to have a 3.8-inch barrel or longer. If it's shorter than that, which is what subcompacts are, they're around 3.6 and even smaller, then the Baldr IR isn't even going to work. So right here I have the 43X with the Recover Tactical Rail Adapter. Obviously this does fit that subcompact category, and look, you need this notch right here to go into one of these notches here, and that is just impossible, and it's just not going to work. But if I take the Valkyrie IR, I can go ahead and push the rail adapter back. I can put it on here, lock it down, and it fits on there perfectly. So the Baldr IR isn't even possible with subcompacts, whereas the Valkyrie IR is. So that's definitely something to keep in mind, that this isn't even compatible with everything. Meanwhile, the Valkyrie IR is. Now the biggest difference between these two is the fact that the actual IR capability, like we mentioned before, is completely different. This is an IR laser, meaning that it is going to be a small dot when you are using your night vision, whereas this is an IR illuminator, which is why it had to have its own separate reflector from the white LED. That way it will actually show up and mimic a flashlight when you're using your night vision. So that's another huge thing to consider beyond the run times and the size and all of that. The fact that, do you want to have an IR dot, or do you want to have an IR basically flashlight? Because this mimics a flashlight type look with the night vision, and this mimics a dot. So it's completely different in terms of the way that they look. So let's go ahead and show that to you now. So now I actually have a night vision monocular here up against the front lens of the camera, and you can see the tree right there in front of us, and that's what we were shining the white light on before. Now we're going to go ahead and show you what the illuminator looks like on the Valkyrie IR. So there is the illuminator, and you can see just how much brighter that image is where we are shining the illuminator. So I've mentioned before that an illuminator is basically like your own personal flashlight. It is pitch black if you're not looking through this night vision, but when you're looking through the night vision, first of all, you can actually see at night, but then with the illuminator, it's like you have your own personal flashlight, because it gets much brighter wherever you're shining that illuminator. But it's kind of weird because when I'm looking at the screen of the camera, I can see all of this, but when I actually look at this tree in real life, I see nothing, just pitch black. So to the people who have night vision, you're going to say, well, yeah, duh, that's how it works. But to the people who have not experienced night vision yet, this is very, very cool. It's a very interesting sensation to see something so clearly with this night vision plus IR illuminator compared to just pitch black with the naked eye. Now we'll go ahead and show you the completely different looking Baldr IR, which is a dot, not an illuminator. And take a look at that, guys. So you actually have an IR dot that you can zero to your firearm while you're wearing your night vision. So as you can see, it's a totally different product. I mean, they're not even competing with each other. You have an illuminator on one, which mimics a night vision flashlight, and then you have this dot, which mimics basically a green dot, but obviously it's not a green dot. You can only see it with night vision. Again, you can see it in the camera screen, but when I look at the tree with the naked eye, I see nothing. So there's just a look of how both of these lights will look with the night vision. Obviously, with the Valkyrie IR, there's no way to zero the illuminator because there's nothing to zero. It's mimicking a flashlight. You don't zero a flashlight, right? But with the dot on the Baldr IR, you actually can zero it, just like the Baldr Pro and our other laser products. I think they both have their place, and they're both different enough to where if you do have night vision, it's worth getting both of them. And if you have night vision, obviously you spent a pretty penny on it, so buying these low-cost IR products here from Olight, I think isn't a big deal at all. You might as well try it out if you already have night vision. Now, as you could see with that first-person perspective of the night vision with these two, the performance is completely different. We're talking about an illuminator versus a dot. So it's up to you what you would prefer. Maybe you just want to see things brighter while you're looking at them with your night vision. Maybe you do actually want to have a zero dot. It's up to you, but with that said, obviously both of these have their place and they are completely different. They do not compete with each other, so if you do have night vision, it's worth picking up both of them.
We just want to thank you guys for checking out this quick overview video of our IR lights, and hopefully the information that we've provided you give you a good idea of the differences and the performance between the two lights.
A lot of people have asked us, now what do these look like? How do they even work? Now, if you have night vision, obviously you probably know a lot of this information, but I'm sure a lot of people watching this video are not familiar with night vision. So if you have some extra coin and you want something really, really cool, well, go ahead and check out some night vision options and pick these up to work with them. The illuminator makes the night vision much more useful, making things brighter that you're looking at, and obviously having the dot will increase your accuracy in the pitch black. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.